right here behind me. This is the Snodgrass family's cabin. It was a family that lived here prior to the war, and once the war broke out, they later moved, and then this cabin was turned into a Union hospital. The Battle of Chickamauga actually started on September 18th and lasted until September 20th. The commanders in charge for the Union, it was William Roscans, and then for the Confederate, it was Braxton Bragg. It ultimately turned into a Confederate victory because on September 20th, General Longstreet was successful in breaking the Union line that pushed him back. So that was pretty interesting information. Right there on top of this hill is also called Snodgrass Hill, where eventually the family that owned this house was later buried. There's no markers really up there to tell you the names of the family members, but you can kind of see the layout of the ground, where, you know, the ground was eventually dug up and was used as a grave. But there's so many monuments in this battlefield. It's a huge battle that took place here. As I was doing some research, there was like over 34,000 casualties. Casualties in the war. There was 125 forces that was all involved. So we're going to check out some of these monuments, as well as the other cabins that they have on the battlefield as well. We're going to stop by the visitor center and see what kind of souvenirs they have to show that we've been here and that we support the battlefields. And once again, I also want to give a shout out to Joy, who has recently subscribed to my channel. I appreciate that, Joy. And I appreciate all of the subscribers that have recently subscribed to my channel. I appreciate that. It means a lot, and it helps me continue to go out there and bring you guys this wonderful content that me and my family discover, or just wanting to go out into go on an adventure and just kind of see what kind of history and treasures that we can undiscover. So just continue supporting me and my family's channel, and also make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and I love you guys.
That's a battlefield. That's a whole battlefield. Daddy, you need a picture? Daddy.
I got you, baby. Here, look. See, you're on camera. Right up here.
Huh?
Right up here. It's okay.
You really have me on the mountain.
Yeah, I am. We're going to have fun, baby. We got to have a little bit of fun, you know?
I'm not happy yet.
You're not happy?
No.
Why not?
Because I'm not like feeling that I want to go on that one.
No?
No. And this is terrible. This is terrible.
Where's that monument? I want to take a picture next to it.
He's not did this one yet.
No, I know.
That red one.
Yeah?
He didn't yet. You gotta go get a picture of it. You get a video.
Gotta take a picture of it?
And get Samuel Jackson over there.
Yeah, I know, right? Let's see what this monument is. You want to?
Can you give me a picture of it?
Yeah.
Thank you. You gotta wait, I gotta go upstairs. Stairs. Oh, those Mom's place. Mom, it's okay.
All right, you guys. So this is for Indiana 10th Regiment. So that's actually pretty cool. As you guys can see, I'm right above that cabin. Right over here is the Snod Hill, where eventually the family was buried. They didn't have any markers though, so you just kind of have to. Baby, okay? I'm recording, okay? Okay? Yeah. I had the phone, so you had to tell mommy to. You need the phone?
No, do you want to take pictures?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to eventually need to take a picture next to that monument right there.
That's what I'm saying. I think I'm from far down there. Do you want me to take a picture?
Yeah.
I want to picture it. I want to get a picture over there. I want to get a picture. On the camera. I want a picture.
That's my duty. Take
I
pictures of
want
things.
a picture. Mommy.
Alright. So, right here you have a plaque that was part of Coxton's brigade. You have the 4th Kentucky with Major John M. Kelly, 14th Ohio Lieutenant Colonel Henry O. Kingsbury, 10th Kentucky Lieutenant Colonel Gabriel L. Merton. So these are just some of the generals and lieutenants, as well as captains that was involved with the battle here in Chickamauga. As you can see, there's a plaque right here for the 10th Kentucky Infantry, which were, you know, volunteer. A lot of the forces here was volunteer forces. They weren't really assigned to doing it. They just kind of volunteered their self and everything else to their country, their state, or whatever the case may be. They just volunteered to go to war against the Union or against the Confederacy. There's another Kentucky right here. This one is the 17th Kentucky, so that's pretty cool. I'm seeing so many states. I've seen so many states on my Civil War trail that is just unbelievable. All the things that you can see with doing the explorations and just kind of diving a little bit deeper into this Civil War and how it all came about. And you know, I mean, yeah, it was later, you know, a Union victory over the war, but I don't really think it really mattered of the battle. I think it was more like heart and determination. You know, because the Confederates, they knew that they were outnumbered. They knew that, but they continued to fight and they continued to push each and every day, because they just had that heart and that determination to never quit. And I think that's why I've always been really interested in the Confederacy. It's just because it kind of like relates to me, the never quit attitude. But I have so many things planned for the upcoming year with our Civil War trail. Like next weekend, I'm bringing you guys the Andersonville video of the Civil War, which was a Union prison for the last 14 months of the Civil War. It was where the Confederates housed Union prisoners, you know, that was captured in battle. So I can't wait for that trip, and I can't wait to bring you guys that content. But with that being said, let's go ahead and look around and see what kind of other monuments we can discover. All right, you guys. So here is a tribute to the Indiana. That's pretty cool. It's just amazing, all these monuments out here, and how much time and effort to just create these. Like right here, you guys, excuse me, this is a monument commanded by Lieutenant Alexander W. Roffin. So this gives you the name of the commander. He, from 12 to 7, he lost 71 men. So that is actually really crazy. This is the Illinois infantry. It's pretty cool. Sorry for the wind as well, you guys. It's kind of windy out here. Oh, this is pretty cool. The 18th Ohio Infantry. And you have a little sculpture inside the monument, as you guys can see. So that is pretty fascinating. And then right here on the back is some more information, as well as the commanding officers of each of those regiments. So that is actually pretty cool. Hey, you know what I found out interesting about those monuments now? On the back it tells you the commander that's in charge and how many men was killed under his command. Yep. Because that monument right there, I can't remember the name of the commander, but he had like 71 men fall.
Wounded and missing.
Who is this guy, huh?
Huh?
Who's this guy?
This is the Michigan regiment.
Hey, his hand. Where's his hands?
Where is his hand?
It's broke. Vandals.
They want to take his hand.
I'm gonna take me a picture of this guy.
I want a picture.
Alright, so straight ahead is the Snodgrass Hill. I just actually have seen, this is a very interesting monument. It's for the 2nd Minnesota. Alright, we'll make our way up there. Alright, so we are making our way to the top of this hill. There's some more monuments up here. So that family was supposedly buried somewhere up in this area. No one knows exactly where they were buried because there's no markers. But if they're here, they're here. And I just hope that they rest in peace and know that the fight is over. And their home is still standing, and that it is preserved and protected, so they have nothing to worry about. So that's always an interesting fact. There's another cabin on this property as well. It's called the Brethren Cabin. We'll stop by there as well on our adventure. Here's a plaque for King's Brigade. He was in charge of the so there's so many monuments here with so much history. Like right there, that's another Indiana monument. Right here to the left is the, so as you can see, it's letting you know to the left it's the 68th Infantry of Indiana, and to the right, the 35th Ohio Infantry. And also, if you guys didn't remember, when we did the Raiders, Andrew and his Raiders, most of those men actually came from the Ohio Regiment. So, you know, interesting facts. There's just so much here. Like right here, as you guys can see right here, it's another Indiana monument. There's a trail right in front of me, as you guys can see, that kind of gives you away to some more monuments and statues. So that's pretty cool. And then you got a plaque right here. Close of the battle, September 20th, 1863, 7:30 p.m. So the battle technically ended about 7:30 that night of September 20th, 1863. 2 years into the war. eventually ended in 1864 with Lee surrendering to the Union and to Grant at the Appomattox courthouse up in Virginia. So I'm hoping that one day maybe I can get more towards the north area and do my Civil War trails there. Now I am making plans to get a trip planned out to go to Gettysburg battlefield. I'm hoping that it'll be pretty close in the near future. I believe that would be some great history to bring up, because that was considered one of the most bloodiest battles of the Civil War. So, you know, I think it would be a really interesting story to bring, as well as just, you know, just the whole thing in general. They also have a cemetery there on the battlefield. It's called Lincoln Cemetery, which was involved. It's the cemetery for the African Americans, to honor them in their own cemetery. Then you can go to the train station they have there, where President Lincoln ultimately delivered his most famous speech, Gettysburg Address. So I'm hoping that I can make that a good stop. Now, Andersonville, that one is a pretty interesting place too, because it was a prison for the Union captured, and ultimately it was pretty bad in a sense of the way that the Union was treated, and that they were kind of starved and mistreated. So we're gonna go through there. There's an old fort that they kind of show a little bit of how it may have looked in a sense back in that time. And also there is a drummer boy museum down there as well. So looking forward to that. And as you guys can see in front of me, this is the monument for the 22nd Michigan Infantry. Right here we have a little monument, kind of spaced out. So this is the second Regiment of South Carolina, and the commanding officer in charge of this regiment was Lieutenant Colonel Franklin Gillian. So that's pretty cool. Interesting fact, South Carolina was the first state to recession from the Union, which ultimately started the whole Confederate States of America. So that's a pretty interesting fact. And once they did that, it was many other states that followed. You know, you had Texas, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and then Florida. And then, you know, but Florida also kind of just bounced around a little. Because you don't really hear much about any of the Florida regiments as you do other ones. As you can see, there's a Another Illinois monument. But as you can see, the plaque is not here anymore. So that's weird. There's the statue, and that is for the 84th Regiment Indiana Infantry. So that's cool. So which one is this? '40th Ohio. It's a cabin, sweetheart.
Cabin house.
Yes. I guess so.
What does they? Picture that camping house.
We're going to, sweetheart. I just gotta get these stuff first. Okay? Oh, it's windy out here. Alright, you guys. Straight ahead is the Brethren cabin. It's the second cabin that is left on the battlefield of Chickamauga. Well, I mean, that's what I looked up, but I mean, last time I was here, I even seen like the Kelly house, or was it cabin? I don't know. It's one of the two, but that was on here as well. And as you can see, right there, all around me, is the battlefield that claimed the lives of over 34,000 soldiers. So that's a lot. A lot of young men killed in a combat, or in a battle, and in a war that necessarily didn't even have to begin, and it's unfortunate that it did. It's just one of those many histories that America has had to endure. As you can see, there's a plaque here that talks about the Confederate breakthrough. There's a picture of the Confederates breaking through. What is the line? And then there's this a little bit of the history of how they broke loose. Here's the general. You have to the left Lieutenant General James Longstreet, and then you have Bushrod Johnston for the Union, or no, they are both actually Confederates. So that's pretty interesting. There's the map. You are here, and if you look, there's Polk's Wing, Longstreet's Wing, Johnston. Then right here in the blue would be your Union. There's Lee and Gordon Mill, Lafayette Road. Then you got that little creek, the Chickamauga Creek, Snodgrass Hill. We actually was just up there. There's a couple of cannons over here next to the road and fences. I'll zoom in for you guys so you guys can get a closer up on them. See that? Pretty interesting. Alright, and then right there is the Brethren cabin. They have bars on it, so you can't exactly get in. But maybe I can, you know, stick my camera in there enough. Oh wow, it actually has stairs, so that's pretty cool. As you guys can see, there's a fireplace on that side, and then as you guys can see, there's some stairs. So we can go back around. Yeah, see so there we go. Got that. So there's some stairs. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool indeed. Oh, there's another plaque over here. What is this plaque? Probably talking about a little bit about the Brethren house, I would imagine. Yeah, see, war comes to the Bretons. So this was where George and Mary and their children lived, in this log house. They grazed cattle and grew corn and hay. To escape the battle, some of the families took refuge in a mile, so they left. Interesting. The daughter actually returned home after the war in search of food, and actually found some cows that made it through the war. So she prepared some milk. So that's interesting. As you guys can see, this is a cannon. Pretty cool cannon, actually. This is an 118 or 116 pounder monument. What happened to this monument? So this was Missouri. This is crazy. All the things that has went on, you know. It's one of the most fascinating things to ever be part of, and you know what I mean by that is just to be able to have the opportunity to go out and explore the different sites, the different battlefields, the different houses that was used in the Civil War. It's just it's mind-blowing. It's just one of those once in a lifetime opportunities that a lot of people don't have, or they just are not interested in the history that comes about. but there's so much history that is untold, and to be able to have that opportunity to dive into that history is just probably the best thing that's ever happened to me. As you can see, this is another Indiana. Me and my wife, we always get into a heated battle over who's better, you know, the Confederates or the Union. But at the end of the day, you know, we all know that it doesn't really matter whose side you're on, that we're all Americans, and that eventually we need to just unite and not battle anymore. And I think that was Robert E. Lee's main point when he surrendered himself and his troops over to Grant and the Union forces in Virginia. I think he was just done, you know, like, just, you know, how like sometimes you just get like to the point where you're just wore out and you can't handle it anymore. And I think that's what ultimately happened. Or not Grant, but Sherman, or Robert E. Lee. I think that's kind of what led up to that. So that's pretty cool. I like how they got like the cannons sitting right here with these weeds growing up. It's actually pretty fascinating, actually. But it's sad too, because like this park itself is not open as long as usual as other battlefields that I've been to. So it's like you gotta like hit the main points and then cram some other stuff into it and stuff like that, because you're kind of like rushed for time, and it's sad to have to be like that because of the history that is created, or that has engraved or has been engraved here. But you know, you just gotta make do with what you have, and just enjoy your time out here, and just enjoy the scenery. And I do apologize if my video has real bad wind. It's a little windy out, not too bad, but the wind is kind of picking up out here, but not too bad at the moment. I'm hoping that it'll kind of warm up a little bit. It's kind of cold. All right, so right here we have the 11th Michigan Infantry. Afternoon of September 19th, 1863. So that's cool. So a lot of different states. So I wonder what kind of monument we have over here. Probably oh, that's cool. I like how they do this engravings. Oh, it's Indiana. So, as you can see, the monument right there for the 86th Indiana. So that's pretty cool. A lot of Indiana in here. A lot of them. Yeah. It's pretty. 44th. Some more cannons. Indiana cannon. I got an Illinois. I wonder if the plaque is on the back. Yeah. Oh, look, cannon. Pretty cool. This is Indiana. This one's pretty cool. Indiana. The 19th Indiana Battalion. We got a couple more cannons down there. The 10th Regiment of Indiana. Indiana was a very common unit apparently in the battle that took place here in the city of Chickamauga, Georgia. So that's pretty cool. Just love the scenery here. Some information on King's Brigade. A little bit more about the Indiana Light Artillery. And kind of mess with that a little bit. And then over there you have that field. So much history here. I think this is another Indiana monument. Not sure what regiment though. We've seen so many of them. It's crazy. Yep. 68th Regiment of that Indiana Infantry 2nd Brigade, King 4th Division Reynolds, 14th Corps Thomas. And then you have that carving in there. That's always fascinating. Here's where, right here is where General Thomas had his headquarters. So that's pretty interesting. I didn't know he had his headquarters here. I remember reading about him a little bit. But I never knew his headquarters were here. No, I did see down in Ringgold, which is actually right below where we are. There was where the headquarters for Braxton Bragg, who was what? Huh? I got it. Alright, guys. So we are approaching another cabin here in the Chickamauga battlefield. Just many stopping points through our tour of Chickamauga and its battlefield. As I was reading, there was actually a battle that took place right there on that field to my right. So just imagine bloodshed that was spilled on this ground. It's just sad to know all the men that was killed and gave the ultimate sacrifice. And so this is the Kelly house. You can see right there, Kelly house. And it's right there. This cabin just right here in the middle of I'm just kidding. In the middle of the field. I mean, in all honesty, I would like to have a cabin though, right here in the middle of the field. But pretty neat little. Hey, babe. Babe. Just meet me down there. I want to get the monuments. Baby. Just have them meet us down there where the monuments are. The monuments. Meet us down there at these monuments.
Huh?
Meet us down here at these monuments. We got those monuments last time we were here. I didn't get these monuments. Look at this. Look at this. It got damaged by the so forth. I don't know how it hasn't fell completely over yet. Yeah, it makes you wonder how they stay warm. Windy out here. So always turn your back towards the wind. Trying to help out with the camera. Once it stops, we're back around. Especially if you don't have the money or the equipment to eliminate the wind in your videos. I learned that the hard way with my recent video of Chattanooga National Cemetery, finishing up the trilogy of James Andrew and his Raiders. I always enjoy going out to cemeteries, especially military ones, because it just gives me a sense of it gives me that sense that I need to always remember my fallen heroes, and that I'm able to do the things that I do, like filming and exploring and just going out on all these different adventures. That's all done because of the men and women that gave their ultimate gave the ultimate sacrifice in combat. So that's pretty interesting. And then you have the artillery monument right here for the U.S. Okay. If you're not familiar, U.S. utility is a union. And right here, privates. Interesting. Then it tells you who was in command, and then where these were. Shallow, been there, Perryville, Stone River. So I'm actually wanting to go back to Shiloh because there's a few things that I never touched on. It's just a really big battlefield, and I had other things planned too, but when I go back out there for the second time, I'm just gonna make sure that I devote that whole time to preserving my time and filming Shallow. So right here you have the 1st Ohio Light Artillery. Light artillery is, you know, the cannons that they have here. Right there.
Whoa. I need to wait. There's more stuff over there, Dad.
I know.
I know you're over there.
It's a little bit more of the battlefield. Pretty big battlefield, actually. Okay, Kinkin, shh.
I'm right here.
Okay.
Yes, I'm tired, dude.
Are you tired?
There's a black one.
Yeah.
Picture it.
I'm walking that way. I have to get this monument. I have to get this monument right here.
Okay.
I'm not sure what it is though. Oh, the 5th. There we go.
Oh, that's
That's pretty cool. Stop. We'll get lunch later, baby. Daddy's trying to film.
You're going to get done here. I'm hungry. Okay. Fine. Oh, look, there's a clue.
Hey. So this was given to them by the state of Minnesota. 22nd Minnesota.
There's one in the back too, Daddy. There's one in the back. Daddy, I'm done when you're done.
Okay, kid, shut up.
Daddy, I'm done.
Anakin, watch out. There's an anthill right next to it. Yeah, this is the Georgia one. You have her using our phone?
Oh, I got her to hold it because I was trying to get her gloves to put on.
Oh.
She's holding it.
Navigate. I think it's right up there. I think that's the building right there. Well, at least you can finally say that you actually walked the whole battlefield of Chickamauga. Because that's exactly what you just did. You walked the whole battlefield and the trails of Chickamauga. Now, if we were at Shallow, I don't see us completing that as quick as we did on this one. Huh? What do you think of it, babe? What do you think of this place? What do you think of this place? This time I think we hit more. We'll drive over to the Weiler Tower. I have the directions. We do. If you walk it from the visitor center, it's like 55 minutes to walk. Huh? No, it's on the other side. Huh?
It's just right there.
Yeah. I know. My battery's about to die too. You know what, babe? My battery's about to die.
You want your other one, don't you?
Yeah, let's see, looking for it. It's a long bit. It's going to probably be a good bit of a video.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the Kentucky one, I think.
Are you breaking it down?
What do you mean?
Like the whole walking part right here until we get into areas? Is that what you're doing?
It's all going to be combined into one whole video.
That's what I'm saying. Are you sort of
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Well, I mean, it's a battlefield, so, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that monument right there is Kentucky.
Ferrari! Ferrari! Ferrari!
Hey, baby, can you get a picture of me next to the Florida monument?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that is kind of like my state, so. Yeah, I've never seen any Florida regiments and stuff until right here. I guess that's where I can do my outro too.
Yeah.
And then you hit that and then take a photo. You know? What? What?
He's down the bottom.
Chickens.
He's down.
We're right there next to the visitor center. We're almost done. We walked the whole battlefield. We had to.
It's too long.
No, it's not.
Oh, yeah, this stuff right here.
Filming now, one bar, so I don't know how much it's gonna last. Alright, you guys, so right there, it's the Weiler Tower. General Weiler's brigade. You can actually go in that tower, but it's more like a seasonal thing. Apparently they're not going to reopen it for you to be able to go up to the top until at least March. I'm not 100% sure. That's what she was telling us about. But she said also that it could very well be later than that. So, and as you guys can see, there's a couple of cannons. The 8th Wisconsin Battalion monument right here. It's pretty cool. The 20th Corps, another cannon. And right here just kind of gives you a little more information on this Wisconsin Light Artillery. You got First Lieutenant John D. McLean, who was the commanding First Lieutenant, Second Lieutenant, and so forth. And then it just kind of gives you kind of a backstory of the artillery in the battalion that was engaged in this combat and in this war that took place. This battle once again took place September 18th through the 20th, but it was not until September 20th that General Longstreet of the Confederate Army was able to break the Union line, which ultimately led to a Confederate victory. And this kind of gives you a little bit more information of Weyler's defense and how he was defending against the Confederates. Here's a picture of General John T. Weyler. Just so much history here. And you have another monument right there as well. As you can see, there's like tons of monuments right here. The one over there with a horse on it, that is actually a Wisconsin cavalry, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, it was the Wisconsin cavalry. Right here, this monument is for the 21st Michigan Infantry. The lieutenants were A.E. Barr and C.E. Belknap, which were the commanding officers at the time of this battle. As you can see, it is still locked, unfortunately. We've been here before. We were wanting to go inside. Maybe I can give you guys a glimpse of the inside. Now, the staircase is actually kind of really thin. Not much space to maneuver inside. But they mostly closed it because of weather permitting, or there's hornet's nest up. As you can see, that's the old concrete staircase, kind of wraps around, and then you can ultimately get to the very top and be able to overlook that battlefield, which is Chickamauga, which is the gateway to Chattanooga, and ultimately Lookout Mountain. So it's just all tied into one thing. There's the 18th Battalion, Indiana. I have noticed that there's a lot of Indiana regiments located here, as well as their monuments are here. Now there is supposed to be a plaque on the back of it. Not sure exactly what happened to it, but this one looks like it's been removed or taken off, because this is the Illinois monument of the 98th Infantry, 1st Brigade Weyler, 4th Division Reynolds, 14th Army Corps Thomas. So those are the commanding officers of that infantry of the 98th Illinois. Right here, this is the site of Widow Glenn's house, which was burned during the battle September 20th, 1863, which is also the last day of the battle. September 20th was the last day of the battle, ended at 7:30 at night. So then back, here's another monument for Illinois. If we go on this side, we'll kind of see a little bit more. The 39th Regiment Indiana Monument, which is the leader, the commanding officer is of the 1st Brigade is Will Nitch, and the 2nd Division is Johnson, 20th Corps McCook. So that is very fascinating stuff. There's another Illinois on that side. A lot of Illinois, but you know there's several different reasons why they were so heavy here, and the reason is that you know Chickamauga was also one of those battles that is one of the gateways to the south and to Atlanta. So I mean, once the Union was able to recapture Chickamauga, then it was on to Humboldt and to Dalton and those other cities as well, which later led to the capture of Kennesaw Mountain by the Union forces, and then ultimately Atlanta, which also led to the burning of Atlanta. As you can see, there is the 10th Ohio Infantry, the general headquarters department of the Cumberland Army, which is also the same general who led the attack for the Union, which was General Roscan. He was part of the Cumberland Army. He was defeated by Braxton Bragg, who was in charge of the Tennessee Army. So that was they considered that as a very big piece in the Confederate victory here, because it kind of pushed the Union back, and then the Union tried to come back and recapture it. They were successful, and then it was like a three-way battle. The South took it the first time, then the Union, and then the South tried to retake it, and it just basically just didn't end well for the South and the Confederate States. As you can see, there's the Ohio sharpshooters. So if you guys are not familiar, sharpshooting is the snipers. They had a few of those back in the day. There's many more monuments over here. I believe that one right there is the Tennessee artillery, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong. We'll find that out when we get there. This is the 5th Wisconsin Brigade, or battalion of the. I like the monument though, which is like a wheel. There's the Wisconsin Cavalry. I love that horse. The monument with the horse. Wisconsin Battalion, 1st Brigade, 1st Division, 20th Corps. The commanding officer is George Q. Gardner. So that is, and he has attached, basically he gave his last commands was to cross the Chickamauga Creek, right before the battle. And right here is the Cavalry monument for the 1st Wisconsin. Pretty neat. It's got a representation of a horse. And then you have the Wisconsin seal, so that you kind of know where it came from. Now this one, I'm not sure if this one's plastic or another one. It is the Tennessee, well, it's the Tennessee County here. So this is the Tennessee man that rode on horseback into then you got right here, Long Brigade. So this is the 1st Ohio Cavalry. Lieutenant Colonel Valentine Cupp, who was the commanding officer. Great name. That's a funny name. But if you guys are not familiar, Ohio, not only did they have a lot of regiments in battle, but they were also, some of the regiments out of Ohio was the ones that helped Andrew create what they called the Andrews Raiders to steal the General locomotive. So if you guys haven't seen that video, you guys need to check it out. It's a great video, filled with a lot of history. We'll make our way down this way. And as you can see, we're kind of next to a train or a railroad. You know, that was one of the things back in the Civil War, especially up in this area, in the Chattanooga area. Railroad system was actually a vital piece of the reason why the Union was trying to capture Chattanooga and Chickamauga and stuff like that, because of the railroad system. And it was their way of trying to get supplies to their soldiers. And as you can see right here, we got the 22nd Indiana. So I guess Indiana was in this fight pretty heavily, because I've seen so many big battalions and brigades and everything else that has to do with Indiana. But I mean, it's always interesting though, because there were so many different regiments. Like right here, here's the 2nd regiment of the Indiana Cavalry. You got the little horse. Then you got the Indiana seal right there with the farmer, and what it looks like a bull. So that's always pretty cool. You know, because it takes so much effort and so much work to create these monuments. And just trying to get an understanding of these people and what they had to endure. A lot of these men that was here were even like really young men that were in combat. Really didn't understand what they were fighting for, but they knew that they had to do what was asked of them. And that's why I think I go to these battlefields, because I want to honor them just the way that they would probably honor me if I was in their shoes. And you see that you have another 4th Regiment Indiana Cavalry, commanded by the 2nd Brigade, Ray, 1st Division, M.E. McCulloch, and the Cavalry Corps is Mitchell. So that is always fun. Down here, this little monument right here is Kentucky. So we have Kentucky over here, and the cavalry, the 2nd and 3rd Cavalry. And if you guys are not familiar, CSA is Confederate States of America. Then you got this one right here, Illinois, Chicago Board of Trade Battalion, 2nd Division, which was Crook. Cavalry Corps, R.B. Mitchell. Let's see the plaque is here. Okay, so they do have a plaque in this one. So the commanding officer at the time was Captain James H. Stokes, September 19th and the 20th, 1863. Engaged outside of the legal limits of the park at and beyond Crawfish Spring and at Reed's Bridge. Crawfish Springs, you guys, is actually a tourist attraction and also like a trail that you can kind of see like water and stuff like that. Kind of like a pond. You got another Kentucky. I'm not sure exactly what happened right here. But
Somebody hit it.
it looks like somebody hit it. I would hate to see what happened to their car. Got another Indiana right there. Now once we cross over here, there's your Pennsylvania. You got the 9th Veteran Cavalry. I just like how they do the whole carving right here. It's actually, I don't know, I just have a really big fascination on how they carve that into the, and then right here, it tells you a little bit more about the regiment. Not really much. It was, the commanding officer was Lieutenant Colonel Boswell M. Russell. He was in command of this regiment from September 19th through the 20th. And like I said before, the 20th of September was the day of the, or was the last day of the battle here at Chickamauga, and eventually elsewhere. I just can't wait till I'm able to get into that tower. I've always wanted to walk inside the tower, kind of just see what it looks like, you know, up there in the very top, and being able to look down on the battlefield. As you can see, this is a Michigan one to her 2nd Regiment of Cavalry, Colonel Archibald P. Campbell commanding. So he was the commanding officer of that Michigan regiment. It's a little hard to kind of read. Oh, and it looks like, yep, state of Michigan. You got their plaque right there. And then it gives you a little bit of a backstory right here. So, out of this regiment, they had 18 casualties. Out of the 21st Michigan Regiment, they had 18 casualties. And they arrived here they arrived in Chattanooga around 3 a.m. on the 21st of September. So they were on the road pretty early. But yeah, this is basically the Weiler Tower and the many monuments. As you can see, there's another Illinois monument with Weiler's Brigade. So there's just so many monuments here. It would take you all day to basically hit every single monument. But I hope that you guys enjoy this video and just join me as we get ready to go to the Kelly's cabin, or Kelly's house, which is another cabin that's here on the battlefield. So with that being said, I hope that you guys are enjoying this video, and stay tuned for when we get to Kelly's house as I bring you guys that content, and love you guys. Alright, you guys, so this is going to conclude our visit here at the Chickamauga battlefield. I hope that you guys enjoyed that video. Subscribe to my channel as well, and I love you guys. What were you saying, babe? Yeah, I zoomed in. It's in Illinois. Yeah. Alright, you guys, so make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and I love you guys.
Nice. You want to get a picture there?
Yeah, hold on.